Hey everybody! So, episode 4 of Teen Wolf Season 4 aired this week, and it was a really, really great episode. Lily Kimber wanted to say hi. She was just itching to get in the frame for once, and she hasn't been in the videos for a long time, so here she is. Say hello. Okay, now goodbye. Okay, let's talk about this awesome episode. It's full moon time again. But let's start off at the beginning where Scott has called Sheriff Stilinski to the crime scene where Sean was killed by the mute axe dude, the guy with the tomahawk. And he calls in Derek as an expert. And he goes up and he just sniffs around. He's like, yeah, someone else was here. He finds the blood, Liam's blood, and that's kind of where that is left off. Basically, Scott and Stiles kidnap Liam. Well, Scott kidnaps Liam. Kidnapping guys on this show is becoming a thing, apparently. Like the time they kidnapped Jackson and all this stuff, it's a thing now, I think. I don't know how to take that. It's always pretty entertaining, though, especially this time with the duct tape. Scott has duct taped Liam in his tub. Scott and Stiles try and explain things to Liam. Liam starts faking tears. And when they take the duct tape off and everything, he punches Stiles, escapes. And I don't know how he is just able to overpower Scott, but I think Scott's just trying to be a good guy and not use his alpha stuff over him and act like he's just all a big deal. That's just Scott's personality, and he just never planned to turn anybody, so he really doesn't know how to deal with this. When Liam goes to school, he runs to school and we meet his friend Mason, and he's asking, did you run here to school the whole way? And that was a really funny scene. We see Lydia, Malia, Stiles, Scott, and Kira talking, trying to figure out how to get Liam in a safe place away from people during the full moon. And they talk about this lake house. Apparently they've been bringing Malia there and stuff during the full moon. So Lydia's like, hey, Kira, female fox is called a vixen. So she get Kira to trick Liam, kind of ask him out to go and act like it's a party. Well, Kira's walking down the steps of the school, all graceful and then she just falls straight down the stairs, and it's just total Kira thing to do. And it was just too hilarious, that part. We see Peter at Derek's loft, and he's looking for Derek, and then all of a sudden he's just reading some papers. Then the mute guy shows up, throws the tomahawk, hits him in the chest, and we're like, I love Peter so much. But for some reason or other, the guy with the tomahawk or whatever, his glove or something that helps him talk or whatever, got left behind or something. And so Parrish, Sheriff Stilinski, and Derek try to figure it out, and they find a code, and they can't figure it out. My dog is playing with the mirror. She sees herself. That was interesting. Anyways, they find this code. They don't know what to do with it. And then we go back to the lake house and all this stuff. And we find out why Liam was kicked out of school. He had trashed a Lamborghini, his teacher's Lamborghini or something. And he with a crowbar, and it was so trash. It had to take him so long. He just had commitment in trashing that. He has severe anger issues. He wrote, it was all your fault on it. And that was just, and then we see him in the car with Kira, and he's starting to get mad. We're like, oh god, he's gonna hurt Kira. But then we remember Kira's a badass kitsune, and she's got all these ninja skills. When they arrive at the lake house, they do this whole roll call where they all explain who they are, what they are. And Liam's just not having it. He thinks it's all a trick. He starts to feel the werewolf stuff happening, and then he hears this noise, and all these cars show up. Well, turns out he told Mason, and Mason told his friend Garrett and Violet about the party, the supposed party, and just everybody in the class shows up. So Lydia has to throw this party that she was just didn't plan on doing. And so that was really funny when she opened the door, and there's just this horde of freshmen and stuff out there. Malia and Styles have this whole moment where in the basement where she's trying to still control herself and her Were Coyote stuff, and Styles helps her get through it, and it seems like she's finally got that under control. Lydia finds this room where it's a soundproof room in that place. Apparently there were some banshees or something in her family before, which wouldn't be surprising because a lot of things are hereditary, certain things in the show. But she finds this like record player, she puts it on, and it's silence, but you hear all these voices, and you start seeing these faces popping out of the walls, and she hears the code to break the code, like the keyword. So when Kira comes in there, well, let's go back. Let's backtrack. There is this whole scene with Liam and Scott and Kira. Kira had to knock Liam out because they couldn't control him. Scott and Kira start having this like make out and dance session under the moonlight. And then, I don't know why they decided to do that right then. Whatever. Kira, she's pretty frisky. I'm just going to say that part. The only thing that happened, she made Scott do is his eyes started glowing red. She started losing control. She's figuring out how to mess with him. But when they're doing all that, Liam wakes up. She's like, I heard, did you growl? I made you growl? And he's like, no, that wasn't me. And they find Liam. Liam breaks free. Scott has to go after him in the woods. Then we're back, and with Scott trying to catch him, they fight back and forth. Scott's he's not using his full alpha abilities because it's a full moon. He could lose control if he gives into his werewolf side. Everybody was talking on like all over the internet about why Scott was getting beat. Well, I think it's because he's not giving into his werewolf side because it's a full moon and he could lose control. So, but we see a flash arrow come, and out of the forest comes Chris Argent. I am so happy he's back. I love him. I didn't like him in the beginning and like season 1 in the very beginning, but I really like began to appreciate him when he like evolved as a character and as a human being. And it was just really great. Lily. Okay, yes. You like Teen Wolf too, and you hear things and you see yourself. Okay. Where was I? Basically, I think Chris has been monitoring Scott this episode, like throughout the full, like right after he bit Liam, because he knew Scott wasn't using his own words to like explain things to Liam. There was this whole part where Scott uses Derek's words. He's like, "We're brothers now. The bite is a gift." And it was so awkward, and I felt so bad for Scott. He never planned to bite anyone, so he didn't know what to do, what to say. So Chris was like, use your own words. And when Scott did, it really had an impact on Liam, I think. And Liam was basically saying he doesn't want his mom and his stepdad to see him as a monster again. And Scott's like, you're not a monster, you're a werewolf. And that was just really... It just made sense and just made a difference. Back at the lake house, something that happens is very interesting. The guy that brings a beer keg, he's a werewolf or something. He walks outside, and when he's about to get in his car or whatever, Violet or whatever, the girlfriend of Garrett, she comes up with like this garrote or something in a necklace, and it's like heats up, and she just beheads him right then and there. She gets a text, some money gets transferred to her from the Benefactor. She goes to Garrett and she's like, I got a text from a friend. They showed the text. So apparently they're hunters or whatever working for the Benefactor. Back at the school, something that happens is the mute shows up. He like sets a trap for Sheriff Stilinski, and Sheriff Stilinski almost gets killed and Derek saves him. But then there's this whole like fighting between the mute, and they get him. They're starting to handcuff him and stuff, and Sheriff Stilinski's like, you have the right to remain silent. That was pretty funny. But then Peter shows up, and Peter is pissed as hell. I don't blame him. He's had his money stolen. He's been axed with wolfsbane. Derek had to burn the wolfsbane out, and you know how Peter hates fire. But he comes and he's just like, he just rips him to shreds, and I really don't blame him. And he's just like, Derek's like, we found a better way, and Peter just walks off. He's like, I'm a creature of habit. Yes, you are, Peter, and I just don't blame you at this point. You're one of the smartest people in the show. I mean, if it's in a situation you don't think you can win or a fight you can win, you don't really enter into it. I know that's kind of like self-serving or whatever, but you're also smart and you have good self-preservation skills. But there's a lot of new, interesting characters in here. And one thing, though, that just really blew my mind is the fact that we still have no clue who the Benefactor is. I have my theories that maybe it's Gerard. I kind of would love if Victoria Argent came back and she was Benefactor, but it's not. I can't think of anybody else besides Gerard that would be like a real person, but it's probably going to be someone new. And I don't know. I'm still wondering where Danny is, but back to the keyword. Kira and Lydia are in that soundproof room and Lydia types in the keyword. Guess what the keyword is? And this was what points to maybe an Argent to me. The keyword is Allison. And then right there we see a death pool show up, and it's got like a ton of our favorite characters that are supernaturals or whatever. It's just got like a price for how much they cost. And yikes, I'm just really freaked out about this, and I don't want any of my favorite characters to die and stuff. And this was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I hope y'all liked this recap and review. Continue to watch and subscribe, and have a great day. Bye.